boyfriend, 21M, me, 24F, might have raped me. How should I tell him that I'm not fine? So I've been with my boyfriend for almost a year in a long-distance relationship. When he visited me recently, he started behaving differently. When we were being intimate, at one point I said I was tired and just want to sleep, but he continued. And I had to repeat like 3 times until he finally understood. The next night we were being intimate again, and in the middle of it, he put at least half his D in my A, without asking me. I told him it hurts and to take it out like 2 times. And he just didn't move and only pulled out when I started to move away. The pain from it lasted for like a week. The next night he asked that he wants to do anal, and was trying to put it in before waiting for my answer, which was no. In the moment I said it was fine. But now as I keep thinking more about it, it's not fine. I feel like I can't trust him. He only stayed like 5 days, and since he left I haven't brought up the subject again. And he should have asked. He wouldn't have liked it if I put my fingers in his A without asking. And I don't know what to do, because I'm not fine. He doesn't respect you or your boundaries. He anally raped you. This isn't a conversation. This is break up immediately type of stuff. Edit. Also op, I'm sorry this happened to you. You deserve better. Please look out for yourself. Break up with him. Block him. You don't have to tell him anything. What he has done is rape and horrible. No matter what, he needs a lesson in consent. My personal advice is that I don't think you should stay with someone who does this. Your boyfriend seems to have an issue with consent. Obviously, when you're having sex you don't ask, "Oh, can I touch you here?" every turn you make a move. Because it would ruin it. But if the person says no, then you should listen to them. He evidently does not respect you and values his own getting off more than your feelings. The only solution is to dump him. I am very sorry to say that, but if he cannot respect you in the bedroom, he doesn't respect you outside of it, and he is unworthy of you. He's sweet so he can do rapey things to you, and you'll overlook the massive red flags. That is what he's doing. Rape. Unfortunately, I've been through this with my long-term ex-BF 5 years ago. I had been raped when I was 17 and he knew that. And yet still he didn't listen to me when I said I wasn't ready yet for anal. I cried when it happened, and afterwards we actually finished with vaginal because I felt sorry for him, as he felt guilty after I started crying. We didn't speak for a week after it happened, even though we lived together. I spoke about it with one friend, and realized I only spoke to her because she would let me come to my own decision about breaking up. After she and I talked to my BF to break up. More things were wrong in that relationship, but this was the last straw. I can't imagine things are all fine and dandy in your relationship if this is what he did to you. If you can't find other wrong behaviors in him at the moment, you will after you break up with him. Either way, a man that repeatedly in a few days has crossed your boundaries will never respect you. You are not safe with him. I hope you know you deserve someone who does respect you and who loves you. Someone who would hate the thought of hurting you and would never disrespect you. That's the bare minimum for love and respect. I found a better man when I learned what I'm worth. We're not together anymore. But man, did he raise the bar for future men. You will find someone better eventually as well, girl. Red heart. Yeah, never see him again. That's definitely rape. This is unrelated, but like, related. Why the fuck do head dudes that are so obsessed with anal know absolutely nothing about prepping for anal? There's never ever a circumstance where this behavior is okay. He violated you and your boundaries, and you should not stay with someone who does things like this. The man who was my husband at the time did essentially the same thing to me. but continued until I was screaming in pain. He later told me that he thought I was enjoying it, because I am on the more vocal side when in bed. Ultimately, I left him because I could not trust him with my well-being on many levels. But this was a huge one. Leave this relationship now, before it gets worse. And I don't know what to do, because I'm not fine. First off, that should be an ex. That's rape. Get away from him on every level. You know, I've been married a while. Love my wife. You know what thought never once passes my mind when going to sleep? This is all counts of wrong. He does not repeat you or you boundaries. And frankly sounds like he's too immature to have sex. He sexually assaulted you definitely. Where you go from here is up to you. He's not a child. Consent should not be rocket science to him. Darling, that is not okay at all. If this post is you hoping to validate your feelings, me and bunch of other people will give it. Regardless of your, hopefully ex-BF's, feelings. Doing something like that requires mutual consent. Not just one person doing it and excusing it afterwards. If it was an accident, which can happen in passionate moments, he would be apologetic for hurting you. But he's not. So the question is not how you tell him he hurt you and you're not okay, but how you set your boundaries and find people who don't cross them. I would break up with him. My first boyfriend was like this. He literally thought, if you consent to be in a relationship with someone, you consent to all sex, whether you want it or not. He told me he had an ex that falsely accused him of rape. So I know this is something he just doesn't see as wrong from his end. There was one night when I was tired, beyond worn out, and did not want to have sex. Could not tell you how many times I said no, and he did it anyway. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling. Eventually he said, "Could you move or do something? It feels like I knew what he was going to say. He knew what he was going to say. I gave him a "yeah, think?" sort of look and he climbed off and lay in the couch. He refused to sleep in the same bed as me and tried his damn best to make me feel bad for him, because I was falsely accusing him of rape just like his ex did, and I should know why that's hurtful to him. Quote. Some people really just don't understand consent, and no matter how much you try to teach them, they never will. I would just leave him. In my first year with someone, they forced me into oral sex after I repeatedly said no. I stayed with them for years after. It never left me. If it's not leaving you now, it never will, even if you confront him. I did confront my ex and he apologized, but I couldn't ever shake that he did it to begin with. That he ever thought it was okay. Trust your instincts. You deserve better. There are plenty of men in their 20s who do understand consent. Don't waste your time with someone who doesn't. LDR is rough cause there's so many weirdos who can hide how weird they are behind a computer screen. My condolences. The only direction to go from there is the police station. You tell him that he raped you, and you see what his reaction is. It's not okay to shove something in someone's butt without their express consent, especially without lube and warming up. If he's like, "Oh my god, you're right, how do I fix this?" then you can figure it out from there. If he's like, "No, I didn't," then you immediately leave.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.